Do you tend to write when you're inspired, or do you set a block of time aside and do it for that?
I've done it both ways. Sometimes you don't have the time to get inspired. And that is what happened with my final speech. I had 4 weeks to write it, and I was not inspired. So I just sat down and wrote it. But I've then written speeches which have just written themselves, and I was very inspired, and they just came out. So whatever works for you, I've done it both ways.
Both. I think there's no one way. Again, another thing that I learned from David Brooks is all of you should have a story file. Take a Word document, open it up, leave it on your desktop, and be a collector of stories. I heard this concept from another speaker. He said it's he talks about your active reticulator. Meaning, when you want to buy a house, you see for sale by owner signs everywhere. When you want to buy a car, you see that Lexus everywhere. So I tell you, your inventory is your stories. Collect them. Collect your stories. And then it will make speech writing easy. It's, okay, what are the best stories for this audience to make this point?
Years flow. And then record it and then begin working with that basic. And I'm just wondering if you've done that or any benefit of doing that from your experience?
What I've done is if I feel I'm not ready for a speech, I still go ahead and do it. And I think that really helps you get started. So when you do it the first time, even though you were not prepared for it completely, you thought you hadn't put in enough time, whatever the reason was, it gets you started. And you start realizing, oh, these are the areas that need more work. These are the areas that are working well. And that really helps you get... So instead of waiting till the speech is perfect before you actually go up and get there, I think I would just suggest, just like Darren says, is go up and do it. And if you do it a few times, then it really speeds up the process of writing that speech that you're looking for.
For those of you who are at Toastmasters, think about this question, or this statement. No one ever went to Toastmasters to be a better speaker at Toastmasters. So why are you worried, and I'm not talking about you, Paul, but why are you worried about how well you do there? That's the scrimmage. Get up there and screw up more often. I am just a guy who made more mistakes than everybody. The Thomas Edison and the David Ortiz of speaking. Does that answer your question, Paul? I mean,
yeah,
again, it's not how you do today. It's if you go up today, you'll be better next week. So you'll discover that thing that works great. And then you'll discover that other thing that was just wishy-washy. That's why, again, it goes back to recording yourself.
How can you help Malik become a proficient, marketable, profitable, professional speaker?
Yeah. What a question. Want me to take that one? Yeah. I have 3 words for you. Stage time, stage time, stage time.
6 words. 6 words.
I wasn't very good at math. But anyway. I make it stage time. Well, that's why my license plate on my car is stage time, to remind me what brought me here. And I love some of my favorite comments is, here I am at home. You are the people who nurtured me as I went. And I remember the thing that I never forgot, it's stage time. The thing that got me here was stage time. John Greiner was one of the Toastmasters International Presidents. The year after I won, he saw me at a regional. He said, Darren, you were good when you won. He said, but now you are so much better. And it came from stage time. So Rosemary Berry, who was here, who brought me into NSA, she said, I saw you do the same program I did this morning 3 years ago at the Weston Town Library. She said, it was so much better, and you were saying some of the same stuff, because I'm constantly tweaking. I am the David Ortiz of speaking. But that's what gets me there. And as far as the business side, speak often. Let everyone leave with your contact information. Did everyone get my newsletter? Did anyone not get this? Okay? Every time I speak, this goes out. I'm collecting names. I learned it from Dan Kennedy. I send around the clipboard. Find a creative way to stay in touch with the people who've seen you speak, because they're the ones most likely to recommend you. So I've got to give them information. If I don't give you good information in my newsletter, you're going to opt off. If I do give you information, you're going to allow me to give you sales pitches for events that I'm doing. At the end of my letter, end of my newsletter, I always say, by the way, if you know of someone looking for a speaker, recommend me. Don't be afraid to ask. Sometimes they don't put two and two together. So I found Dan Kennedy's advice has helped me immeasurably. The other world champions, God bless them, they're talented speakers. Craig Valentine admits this in front of everyone. I've been telling him about build your list, build your list, build your list for years. And I've been passing that clipboard around. I have 8,500 people on my newsletter list. Okay, 8,000 of them were from that clipboard since 1994. And every time I speak, I'm building my list. So I get paid to speak by next week. A lot of people bought all my other stuff, my other educational tools. If Patricia Fripp was here, if I said stuff, she'd slap my hand. I'm learning. Anyway, so I sent out an e-broadcast and I sent out a physical letter about introducing that program. In 2 weeks, I brought in $23,000. Why? Because I had a list of people who see me speak, who have my other educational tools and got a lot from them. The number one reason people bought is they said, I got so much from your other stuff, I knew this would be good. I've sold over 400 of those programs. I've got 4 back. And I offer 77 days. But it came from building my list. People are inspired by you when they hear you. So if they made a connection with them, allow them to keep hearing. And you should be searching for the stories in your industry that helps the people who want your expertise. Stay in front of them. That's the best, cheapest. And keep writing. The other thing is, your stories, newsletters, get them into trade publications. Go to the Encyclopedia of Associations in your library and spend an hour there. And I always say that, and everyone's like, well, I can go online. Shut up! I said go to the library! Are you coachable or not? If you go to the library, there's no other distractions there. Go to the library, you'll find so many trade journals that need the expertise that you have, and all of them, unlike speakers and writers, are associations. We have plenty of people writing. Most every other association known to man, nobody wants to write. You be the writer. The end of your article, here's your contact information, boom. Anyway, I could do many seminars for many, many days on that question. I hope that at least gave you something to start with.